All right. So I just realized that I accidentally posted the wrong video, one of these files. I've posted for the additional problems. I've reposted it. So if you haven't done this one, you might want to try to redo that, or you can just watch this video. The difference is that this one actually contains some compounds that have transition metals, whereas the other version of the document does not have that. All right. So again, I'm going to go kind of quicker here. This is an ionic compound right here because potassium is a metal, and its name would be potassium phosphide. All right, not phosphate because this is a monatomic ion, so it's going to end in "ide." All right. The next one is covalent. Covalent ones are the ones that need prefixes. So this is going to be trinitrogen pentoxide. All right, the next one is also covalent. This is it's going to be phosphorus trichloride. Again, you don't need a prefix in front of the first element in that name. All right, this one right here, it's ionic because chromium is a metal. The other thing is that chromium is a transition metal, which means it's going to need a Roman numeral. So we know that the first, and even if it's got that transition metal, we can still do that thing where we divide the positive side from the negative side. This is the plus side, this is the minus side. We just got to figure out what these things are. All right, so the name of the first positive thing is chromium. I'm going to save a little space because I know I need that Roman numeral. The last name is going to be oxide. And if I want to figure out what that charge is, I've got 3 oxygen atoms. Each has got a -2 charge. That makes a total of minus 6. That's got to be balanced by a +6. And we've got 2 chromium atoms. And we can split those evenly to make +3, +3. So chromium 3 oxide. Okay, so this one right here, it's ionic because magnesium is a metal. I can make the dividing line right there. And so again, if there's more than one element on that side of the line, that side of the line has got to be a polyatomic ion. All right, so this is, what's the name of that? Look at your reference guide. That is magnesium carbonate. All right, this one right here, it's ionic. Split it right there. That's aluminum phosphate. All right, notice the difference. This is a polyatomic ion containing phosphorus, whereas the first one was just the single monatomic ion, which was phosphorus alone. All right, this is, it starts with ammonium, so it's ionic. So I should be able to put a line. That's where the line is. So these things are the positive things. This is the negative thing, ammonium sulfide. The next one is covalent, nitrogen triiodide. No prefix in front of the nitrogen because it's the first element. Same thing with this guy right here, carbon tetrabromide. All right, this one right here, this is calcium nitrate. All right, again, you can split it right there. All right, this one right here, iron, that's a transition metal. So we've got to figure out, all right, so there's this one right here, that's a monatomic ion. Its sulfur's charge, it's like this. There's only one of them, which makes it a total of -2 charge. That's got to be balanced by +2. And there's only one of these. So this is iron, Roman numeral 2, sulfide. All right. This guy is magnesium bromide. So we've got a couple of ionic compounds in a row. We've got magnesium bromide. This is potassium hydroxide. One thing that helps here, again, if you recognize this is the metal right here, so that means that the dividing line is going to be right there. And that, in my opinion, that helps to recognize this as that's a polyatomic ion right there. That's hydroxide. All right, here it starts with ammonium, so the dividing line's right there. That is ammonium polyatomic ion, followed by bromide monatomic ion. All right, and this one, it's covalent, so it needs the prefixes. The nitrogen's first, dinitrogen, monoxide. There's only one of the second thing, and you need that mono if it's the second thing. On this one right here, I can tell it's ionic, and the one thing that should pop out is that manganese is a transition metal. So I need that that Roman numeral. All right, so what is that Roman numeral going to be? Well, I've got 2 chloride ions, and that would add up to a total of -2 charge. All right, that's 2 separate atoms, each with -1. That's got to be balanced by +2, and so this would have to pay the whole bill. So that is manganese 2 chloride. All right, the next one is going to be, this is going to be potassium phosphate. This is going to be, this is one that actually, if we look at it, that's ammonium. So I'm going to put the line right there. So on both sides of the line, you have multiple elements. So it's just a matter of writing down the names of the polyatomic ions side by side. All right, so that makes that one ammonium sulfate. All right, this one right here is very similar. It's just sodium sulfate. All right, and here that's sodium is not a transition metal, so it does not need any Roman numerals. All right, so going the other way, potassium carbonate. Okay, so this is ionic, which means we're going to have to do the crisscross rule. So we're going to write down the ions side by side. Carbonate, look up the formula in the reference guide. Crisscross these guys, we get this that pops out. And since we only have one of the polyatomic ion, we take the parentheses away. All right, ammonium phosphate. All right, if we do the crisscross rule, so we write down the ammonium ion, we write down the phosphate polyatomic ion, crisscross them, we get this, and we need to keep the parentheses around the ammonium, but we can drop it around the phosphate. All right, calcium chromate. Okay, so write the calcium ion, which is +2 charge. The chromate polyatomic ion, notice it's chromate. All right, do the crisscross rule, and this comes out. All right, check out your ratio, a 2-to-2 ratio. That simplifies to a 1-to-1 ratio. Again, you only simplify ratios with ionic compounds. All right, so if that's the one of these things right there, you're also going to be able to drop that the parentheses. Cobalt 3 fluoride. All right, crisscross these guys right here, you get COF3. Trinitrogen monoxide. All right, that should be fairly simple. All right, ammonium and fluoride, just write them side by side, crisscross. NH4, 1, F1, and then we simplify it to just plain old NH4F. All right, sodium cyanide. All right, Na plus, Cn minus. Crisscross, you get this, and then it simplifies to this formula. All right, so the next two, this one should be fairly straightforward. Application of the crisscross rule. Next one, manganese. We know that it's manganese +2 because of the Roman numeral. Crisscross that with carbonate. This would be what pops out, but then that 2-to-2 ratio simplifies to a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, you should recognize the second one as a polyatomic ion. So it's not Cl minus, it is ClO3 with which has an overall negative charge. All right, crisscross those, this is what comes out. You can drop the 1, all right, but you need to have the parentheses here because there's 2 of them. All right, we can't simplify a 1-to-2 ratio anymore, but we can drop the 1 from the formula. Okay, we have 2 covalent compounds in a row. All right, again, we can identify them just simply from the fact that there's prefixes in it. It's nitrogen trichloride, and one is phosphorus pentabromide. One thing I do want to mention, I would use be careful about, one thing you want to be careful about is dichromate, right? Chromate and dichromate. All right, notice that those are, take a look at those on the polyatomic ion list. Chromium is an atom within that polyatomic ion, but that these would count as, remember, these are polyatomic ions. So these are going to be in ionic compounds. And the dye, which would be fine even if you mistook the chromium for an atom by itself. But the thing is, the dichromate, that, remember that dye is part of the name of that polyatomic ion. All right, it's not used in the same way that these are right here. All right, so dichromate, that prefix di in that does not count as a regular prefix. The next one, it's ammonium phosphide. These are the two ions. We could crisscross those to get that. So magnesium sulfite, we write down the magnesium ion, and then there's the sulfite polyatomic ion. We crisscross those, we would get Mg2 SO32. And you might be realizing a shortcut. If you know that these are the same, if these are the same numbers right here, that it's eventually going to simplify, that's fine. As long as you know that sometimes people will make mistakes when they do a shortcut. But you know, if it were me, if I did it for enough times and realized that shortcut, I would probably skip writing down this intermediate because I know eventually what's going to happen. The next one, these are both monatomic ions. This one's a transition metal that has that charge, so we crisscross these. All right, sorry, that's going to be S3. All right, so Cr2S3. Last one, sodium oxide, Na plus with O minus. Crisscross those, we get Na2O. All right, so that's it for these mixed compounds, and hopefully you've started to get the knack of that.